Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And, I think my hair is getting a little long, and I don't think I look very good. So maybe I should get a hairstyle, or I should have my hair styled instead of just getting a haircut. I know a lot of guys just simply shave all their hair off. It's easier that way. You don't have to worry about getting a haircut. But hey, if you want to look good, if you want to look your best, you might go to a beauty salon and get a perm or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that a lot of the ladies out there like to do. They like to go to the hair salon, and get their head massaged and get a cup of tea and get a haircut, maybe get a perm, maybe have a color job done. Lots of choices these days. I've noticed that some of our guys out there are getting the top part of their hair permed, which is kind of a style right now. I've run into several of them, and so I started asking them, is this the latest style for guys out here in Taiwan? They said, yeah, it's kind of the cool thing to do.
Well, my daughter was pointing out this hairstyle that's popular among local males. She called it the watermelon hairstyle. It looks like half a bowl of watermelon, on top of their head, where they have thick hair on top and then they don't have much on the sides. Kind of like that dictator in North Korea. He's kind of got a haircut like that. A lot of hair on top, but very little on the sides.
Oh, and they call it watermelon in Chinese?
Yeah, when she described it that way, I was imagining, they dye their head green and red, and in the red parts, they have little black dots. So it looks like watermelon meat.
Well, the perm that I was describing earlier that the guys are doing now, the sides of their head are cut really short.
Okay, so maybe that might be my own daughter's way of describing that herself. I don't know if that's the term for it, watermelon haircut, but I think I know what she means, just having thick hair on top and little hair on the sides. But that's an example of a hairstyle. But it seems to me that women have more choices in terms of hairstyles simply because they just have more hair.
We do have a lot of hair, and society has allowed us to do whatever we want, pretty much, with our hair. And nowadays, you can even go with some unnatural colors like blue and pink and green. Those aren't natural. They aren't made in nature. So it's been kind of fun lately. You can do whatever you want with your hair. But you might want to go to a salon and talk to a hairstylist. And that's what our conversation is going to be about. Tom is playing the role of a hairstylist, and then I'm the customer who's going to the salon to maybe change up my hairstyle. Let's start.
Good morning. Welcome to Elegant Touch. My name is Michael. What can I do for you today?
Hi. I'm not exactly sure what I want. I just feel like I need a change, but I don't have a specific style in mind.
Not to worry. Let's start with the consultation. Do you have any preferences for the length or color?
I'd like to keep it medium length, maybe just above the shoulders. And I don't want the color to be too light.
Understood. How about we go for a layered bob? It's stylish and requires minimal maintenance. For the color, we can do a rich, warm brown with some highlights to add depth.
That sounds nice. I just want to make sure the highlights aren't too noticeable.
We'll keep them soft and subtle, just a shade or two lighter than your base color, so they'll blend in naturally.
Okay. That sounds promising. I also have a bit of curl in my hair. Will that affect the style?
Not at all. The layers will help control the curl and give it a nice bounce.
Perfect. I'll leave it in your hands.
Excellent. So today we'll start with the cut and then add the color and highlights. After that, I'll style it so you can see the full effect. Ready to begin?
Yes. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Please follow me to the shampoo station and we'll begin with a relaxing wash. Okay, welcome back. Again, we've got a conversation between the hairstylist and the customer. The customer, of course, is a lady, and she wants to go in and get a hairstyle, or I should say get her hair styled or get a perm or whatever. So, of course, if you do that and you don't really know what you want, you just want to change your hairstyle, but you're not sure exactly how you want to do it, a good person to ask is the hairstylist.
We've got a guy who works for a salon whose name is Elegant Touch. If something's elegant, it's very glamorous, it's very cool, it's sophisticated perhaps. It's kind of a nice name for a salon, Elegant Touch. Touch here doesn't mean using your finger to actually, feel something. It just means sort of a style that is added to something. We need your touch on this project. You always make something just a little nicer, a little finer. So it's somebody's putting their personal style on something. That's the touch. His name's Michael, and he wants to know what he can do for the customer today.
Yep. What can I do for you today? What would you like? How can I serve you today? And the customer, who is a lady, says, "Hi, I'm not exactly sure what I want." So yes, this happens probably a lot. Lots of women go into the beauty salon and they want to get a haircut, but they're not quite sure what they want. I have gone with my daughter and my wife a couple of times, not many times, but a couple of times to the beauty salon. And they have lots of magazines there showing pictures of ladies with different kinds of hairstyles. And they kind of look at them and think, oh, that looks good. I like the way that Japanese woman looks. I'd like to look like her. So yeah, I'd like that hairstyle.
Yeah, I've done that before. I've gone into a salon and looked through hairstyle books that they have there or magazines. And sometimes the hairstylist will say, I don't think that would really work on your face shape or the shape of your head, or maybe your hair's too straight for this style or too curly for that style. So it is good to work with the hairstylist. They have a lot of experience. This hairstylist says, you don't have a special or specific style in mind? No worries. We're going to start with a consultation. A consultation is typically where you meet with someone who's an expert in a particular field and you get advice from them or you talk with them about something. And if they're really good at what they do, you have to pay them some money. Well, this consultation is just a quick chat before the hairstylist gets to work on cutting this person's hair or perhaps dyeing it, straightening it, or maybe even giving them a perm to curl it.
Yep, so consultation is the noun form here. That just means when you meet with somebody to get advice. To consult is the verb. So if somebody's asking you to agree to something, you might say, well, I need to consult with my lawyer first. I need to make sure that it's okay, that it's legal or whatever. And then the meeting with the lawyer will be a consultation. So here the hairstylist is going to offer the customer some advice. They're going to do a consultation. So he begins with some questions. Do you have any preferences for the length or color? So yeah, preferences, or do you have a preference? You could use it singular or plural here. They're both okay. And yes, indeed, your hair is going to be long or short. So that's the length. Do you want it long or short or medium length? And what about the color? Do you want your hair dyed? Do you want it to be jet black or kind of brown, chestnut brown or something, or strawberry blonde or whatever? These are different choices for color.
I wanted to mention something. You were talking about preference. You could say, do you have a preference for something? If you use the word any, try to use plural, a plural noun that follows it. Don't say any preference. We typically say any preferences. Or do you have any apples? Do you have any apple? Which sounds weird. That's just a quick grammar note there. But yeah, do you have any preferences? What do you like better than something else? Maybe people hate short hair. They prefer long hair. Well, I prefer, something that's kind of easy to style. I don't want to spend too much time in the morning doing my hair or making sure my hairstyle looks good. Some people just want to get up and run out the door wherever they're going. So you need to make sure your hairstylist knows that as well. If you don't like a lot of maintenance, you better let your hairstylist know. So this particular customer, which I played, wants to keep their hair at medium length, maybe just above the shoulders. So, that's a nice length. Then if you don't want to spend too much time on your hair, you could put it in a ponytail, which just means you put it all in the back into one rubber band or something. And the customer also doesn't want the color that they end up dyeing it to be too light.
Exactly. This reminds me of my college days. I did let my hair grow long when I was in college. I did have shoulder-length hair for a while, and then I thought, I want to cut it short. It's just too much trouble to have long hair. It's cool. It's a fad. It was fun for a while. And that happens with hairstyles. People want to change them from time to time and have a new look. But here she says she wants to keep it medium length, not too long, not too short, just in the middle, just above the shoulders, maybe not down to the shoulders. And again, she doesn't want the color to be too light. Now, the hairstylist says, understood. I understand what you said. So I'm going to take that into consideration in our consultation here. He's got another question. How about we go for a layered bob? It's stylish and requires minimal maintenance. And, of course, that's something that a lot of people would prefer, something that requires minimal maintenance. Now, here when I see the word bob, I think of my sister's husband, Bob. That's his name. And I also think of the bobcat, which is a wild kind of cat creature in North America, the bobcat. But here, bob, I think, is a kind of hairstyle. Does that mean you cut it really short or something?
Yeah, it's interesting. Medium length is too long for a bob. I just want to make that clear. If you're saying you want a bob, it's going to be down to your chin, and it's all pretty much the same length. This is kind of, a little variation on a bob. It's not a straight bob because they're also layering this. Usually a bob is cut evenly around your head. It's very popular in Asia. I think black Asian hair looks great in a bob because it's that silky, very straight hair that looks great in a bob. My hair looks terrible in a bob. I have curly hair. So this is a layered bob. It's a little different. It's longer. You can cut different levels. That's what layered means. It's got different levels of hair. And the hairstylist says it's stylish. It really is. It looks really cute and requires very little maintenance. You don't have to spend a lot of time making it look good. For the color, he suggests making this person's hair a rich, warm brown. We don't know what they started out with. Maybe they have blonde hair. Maybe they have black hair and they want it lighter. Probably started out darker and now they want that rich, warm brown that's very popular in Taiwan. I prefer that black color. I love that. So it's always funny to me that I see people who want lighter brown colored hair because mine's lighter brown. I'd rather have black. Well, this is going to require doing some dyeing, putting a different color. It's a permanent color onto this person's hair. But they also want to add some highlights to add depth. So you have the base color, we say, and then on top of that, they take just strands of hair and they make that a lighter shade than the base color, and that just makes it more interesting.
Right. Now, of course, here in Taiwan, most people have black hair when they're born, so they might think about dyeing it a lighter color just to have it a different appearance.
I see blonde lately, too, here.
Indeed. I think one of our teachers, one of our TV teachers here, has dyed her hair blonde.
Oh.
But in any case, I was going to say that as Westerners from the United States, we are sick of seeing blonde people and redheads and brunettes. We just love that black hair.
We do.
With people here in Taiwan. But I guess you all are kind of bored with it because everybody has the same color. So we can understand why you'd want to try something different from time to time. And that's what the hairstylist suggests here. Kind of a rich, warm brown and then some highlights. I guess he adds a little dab of color here and there. So it looks like it has some depth to it.
The customer likes that. And the hairstylist then says, we'll keep them, the highlights, soft and subtle. They're not too extreme. The contrast isn't too extreme. Just a shade or two lighter than your base color. Notice he uses that word base color. So they'll blend in naturally. So if it's subtle, it's not too obvious. It's just a slight change in the color. If the shade is a little lighter or darker, shade doesn't mean lighter or darker. You have to say a shade lighter or a shade darker. It's one color away from whatever you're talking about.
Exactly. So in painting, of course, you can add water to paints to make different shades of blue, for example, or there are just simply different shades of blue or different hues. It's kind of similar, but yes, indeed, This is the degree to which it is dark. So, yeah, it's a shade or two lighter than the base color. Those, again, are the highlights. And with those highlights, the hair will blend together naturally. You won't look too weird. You won't stand out too much. It'll be natural. People will notice you, but not too much because you're weird, but they won't ignore you either. They'll go, wow, you got a really nice hairstyle. I want to be your friend.
Yeah, so the hairstylist says, cool. Well, the customer first says, that sounds promising. If it sounds promising, it sounds like, oh, maybe there's a potential for a really nice hairstyle there. There's a potential for success or improvement. If something sounds promising, oh, that sounds good. Sounds like that could be a really good thing. I also, the customer says, have a bit of curl in my hair. So there's a little bit of curly texture or a little bit of a curl in this person's hair. It's not all straight. And the customer wants to know if that will affect the style. The hairstylist says not at all. I disagree. I think it will affect it. The layers will help control the curl. Sometimes they will put layers in your hair so it's not so curly. It kind of straightens out certain portions. And that will give the hair a nice bounce. Bounce is when something springs back or moves up and down slightly. So it's nice to have bouncy hair. In commercials for shampoos, they always have people with bouncy hair. So, of course, this all sounds pretty good to the customer, and she says, perfect. I'll leave it in your hands. If you leave something in someone's hands, it just means you're leaving the responsibility to them. You're just going to sit back and see what happens.
Yep, I'll leave it to you. Isn't that an old song? I'm leaving it all up to you. I think Marie Osmond sang that song years ago. But in any case here, I'll leave it up to you. I'll let you handle it. I put my trust in you. And the hairstylist says, excellent. So today we'll start with the cut and then add the color and highlights. So it's a whole process here. You can't do it all at once. There are many different steps in a hairstyle. So first they'll cut the hair, and then he's going to add the color and highlights. He's going to dye her hair and then add the highlights using whatever equipment they use for those things. Again, I've never had my hair dyed before. I did want to dye my hair gray at one point, but
really?
Yeah, because it's
when you were young.
Well, no, because recently I haven't had my hair turn gray fast enough, as I'm growing older.
Yeah, but you have kind of blonde hair, so it's hard to see gray.
Mixture. I'd like it to be either blonde or gray. I don't like this in-between stuff.
It'll always be that way. My grandmother died when she was 86. She had blonde hair. You never saw her gray, really.
Okay, yeah, it depends on the person. And then the hairstylist goes on. After that, I'll style it so you can see the full effect. So that's the finishing touch there to the hair. And then he says, ready to begin? Shall we begin? Let's get started.
Yeah, and so the customer says, yes, absolutely. She sounds excited. So they've had this very short consultation in the hairstylist's chair. And now the hairstylist says, please follow me. That's when they take you to the shampoo station. That's just an area in the salon where hair is washed. They have a lot of sinks, and usually there are, 2 or 3 sinks, maybe even more if you're in a big salon. And they've got the younger hairstylists that work in the salon washing the hair for the customers. And then they return back to the hairstylist's chair. They sit down, and that hairstylist will get busy. Whether they dye your hair first or perm it first or cut it first, that's up to them.
Okay, so here the customer probably will come out looking quite spectacular after she gets the new hairstyle. And that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson. Let's take a break now, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜，又来到我们多益单元了。其实我真的蛮喜欢多益单元，因为都好实用哦。比如说现在我们要谈的是换发型这件事情。对啊，因为这个再过不久马上就要开学了嘛，这个开学之前头发总要理一理啊，剪一剪。而且我们平常如果去剪头发要用英文到底要怎么讲？好，我们今天赶快来看一下。这个今天的对话呢，就是一个 hairstylist， 一个发型师跟一个 customer， 跟一个顾客之间的对话。当然一开始发型师因为打招呼啊，那顾客就会说，哎呀，这个我要剪头发啦，或者是我要修剪，或者是像这个顾客他说我需要一点改变，但是 我不太确定到底要怎么做比较好诶。在第一个顾客当中，我们来到第3句 I just feel like I need a change。 我好像想要换个造型，我们可能中文讲说我想要改变一下，我想要换一下发型I need a change， 我需要改变一下，但是心中又没有什么特定想要的，特定的一个 specific 很明确的 specific style 在心中，所以这时候发型师就是想说没关系啊，那你大概平常喜欢怎么样，或者是你大概你的这个 preference 偏好是如何，就先沟通嘛。我们常说如果这个发型师跟顾客其实并不是他专业不够，而是中间的沟通好像有问题，所以顾客会觉得做出来好像不是他要的。那我们来看到第2个 hairstylist 这边第2句我们先来沟通一下这个沟通他没有用 communication 他用的是一个专业咨商的这个字，叫做 consultation。 那 consultation 的咨询通常都是你对专业人员的咨询，比如说医师啊、药剂师啊、律师啊，这种叫做 consultation。 好，我们先来沟通吧。你有没有比较喜欢长头发啊、短头发，或你比较喜欢烫吗？或还是你比较喜欢什么样的颜色吗？如果你想要染的话，那这个比较喜欢的这些偏好，在第2个 stylist 的第3句，我们要把一个关键字抓出来，叫做 preference。 好，那这个字它的动词原形叫 prefer， P-R-E-F-E-R， prefer。 通常它是我比较喜欢 A 啊，我比较不喜欢 B 啊，通常加的是一个介系词的 to， prefer A to B。 那 preference 偏好这个字也很重要have a preference for something， 比较偏好什么东西，就要把它学起来。好，那顾客就说我不是很喜欢长，也不是喜欢短，大概差不多中等啦那这个中等怎么说呢？在第2个顾客的第1句 keep it medium length， 中等的长度，而且还说一下就差不多在肩膀上面这边 just above the shoulders， 可能比一比啦之类的。那第3个 hairstylist 就很特别了，你想说这里有来一个过去式I understood， 不是understood 的这个字啊，其实它省略的是 it's understood。 那这个 it 指的就是前文，也就是顾客所说的这件事情有被我了解咯，所以 understood 并不是说过去式我了解现在不了解，不是这个意思，而是你说的有被我了解， it's understood 是这个意思。好，所以这个发型师现在就来建议，就是说不然这样子好了，包脖头怎么样？而且是一个层次的包脖头层次的包脖头，那个层次在英文当中真的会用 layer 这个字，层嘛层次。它在第3个发型师这个发型师的第2句这个地方，那包脖头就直接用 bob 这个字就好了。可有时候我们可能担心是不是不好整理呀，对不对？这个剪了头发之后到底要怎么整理？直接看后面第3句出现整理，其实这个动词叫 maintain， M-A-I-N-T-A-I-N。 那我们看到的是名词 maintenance， 就很少，就稍微梳什么的，这个不太需要整理，然后还可以来个挑染接着看第4句倒数第4个字的 highlight 本来有那种强调重点的意思，有没有？在这里就指的是挑染。可是有时候挑染像我们比较保守，可能就不想要弄什么金黄色啊，太明显啊，这样子有没有？这个顾客也是一样。这个接下来第3个顾客的第2句最后面这个形容词 noticeable 就是注意到的，在这边的注意到就是说很明显啊，别人会看到他好像挑染会不会太亮之类的。有时候我们说这个你不要太亮这样子我不想要太亮，其实是不想要太明显的意思。所以发型师当然也知道啦，那他就是会选择底色稍微浅1-2个色阶就好了，就不会觉得好像色差太大。第4个发型师的第1句，我们看到这个色阶啊，用的是 shade 这个字。shade 我们本来记它是阴影处，有没有？ shadow 是影子， shade 是阴凉的地方，阴影处。那在这里指的是色阶。可是现在第4个顾客我们看到了，糟糕了，我有点自然卷自然卷英文怎么讲啊？第4个顾客的第2句 I have a bit of curl in my hair， 就是真的直接用卷这个字，有点自然卷那发型师就告诉他说，这个包脖头其实这些层次啊 会让整体更有弹性，而且会控制出卷度哦。不过这个弹性我们就不会说什么 flexible 啦，这个弹性指的是头发的那种弹跳，所以第5个发型师最后面第2句最后一个字的这个 bounce， give it a nice bounce， 会让它呢上下弹跳呢其实是很漂亮的。好，所以顾客就很开心啦，就决定要剪个这个包脖头。那当然剪包脖头之前还是要先去把头发洗一洗啦。好，那我们先洗头发哦，看看哦，这个最后面第7个发型师他说，来我们先去洗发区 the shampoo station， 他也没有说 wash your hair first， 也不是这样讲，我们先去 the shampoo station， 然后呢先从洗发开始，再慢慢剪发。那以上是我们今天有关于换发型的对话，我们明天还会看一个关于发廊的广告文宣哦。我是安娜，我们明天见。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. We got done talking about the conversation. Now let's talk about some useful expressions when we're offering assistance. So remember, the customer has gone into the hair salon, and if you're the hairstylist or the clerk or whatever, you need to offer people some assistance. You need to help them with something. And so there are various ways in which you can tell people or ask people if they need help. Let's talk about some of them right now.
Okay, the first one is, if you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. This is a nice way to more formally say, hey, if I can help you, you're going to have to tell me. This is somebody who wants to help, but they don't offer help. They just say, don't hesitate to ask. Don't stop from asking just because you're, a little afraid to bother me or put me out. Don't hesitate to ask. If someone really is a close friend, though, you should stay away from this particular phrase. You should just offer to help in a specific way.
Right. Or you could just simply say, if you need anything, just let me know. That's what most people say if you're getting some kind of service somewhere. That's more informal, but it's not rude. And here's the second one. Here's another way you can offer assistance. Feel free to reach out if you need help. Feel free. Don't hesitate. Go ahead and do this. Don't feel restricted. You can reach out. You can solicit me for information. You can call me for information, or you can call me if you need help with something. Otherwise, you are free to go about your business at your own pace.
Maybe you're explaining something to someone, and you're not sure if they understand what you just said. So this is something you can say. Would you like me to explain that again? I'm happy to clarify. Clarify means make something clear. Anything you didn't understand, which is very nice. You would say this to a coworker, perhaps. Or maybe you're on the street and someone asks you for directions somewhere, and you want to make sure they understand what you just said. There are less formal ways to offer help. You could just say, hey, need a hand? Can I give you a hand with that? Want me to help you out? Do you want some help?
Can I help you with something?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You probably will hear that in big stores like Walmart in the U.S. If you're looking for something, somebody might come up to you and say, what can I help you with? Are you looking for anything? If you need any help, just let me know. So these are different ways in which you can offer somebody assistance if you see a customer or if you have a customer who doesn't seem to know what they want. Now let's move on now to our discussion question for today. Here is the question. What factors do you consider when choosing a new hairstyle? This question is probably more appropriate for you because I don't really ever get hairstyles.
Well, you can pretend. You're going to have to pretend. Now, if I were to consider a new hairstyle, my chief area of worry, I guess you could say, with my hair is that it's curly. And I need to find a hairstyle that works with curly hair in Taiwan's very humid environment. If you live in a humid area, it means your hair is even curlier than it normally is. And so you can have a nice hairstyle when you leave your apartment, and within 10 minutes, your hair will change because of the humidity in the air. The water in the air gets into our hair strands and it just gets curlier and curlier. I tend to wear my hair up in the summer because it's just a mess. It's too hot and curly. And then in the winter, sometimes I'll put it down, especially if I'm getting ready to take a trip back to see my family. My family's in Arizona where it's very dry, and I have really great-looking hair in Arizona. But in Taiwan, it's a mess. It's just too curly for me.
Well, my hair is quite thin, so I don't really need to consider a lot when I get a haircut or a hairstyle. I couldn't really consider getting a hairstyle because I have no hair to style in the first place. For me, it's all about convenience. I just don't hope I need to get my hair cut too often.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today, and maybe we have inspired you to head down to your local beauty salon and get yourself a new hairstyle. Head to it, get to it, and we hope you look your best. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.